Okay, so let's start after I take a sip. What's up, everyone? This is your boy Kenma. I am doing a prediction video for the top 8 that starts tomorrow. And this is for the North American qualifiers for BlizzCon. This is the last qualifier. It is there's 2 more spots, and you need to finish in a spot that is equivalent to the top 2, not including the 3 teams that have already qualified. So, which means that you can be 4th, and if those teams got top 3, you got 4th and 5th. The 4th and 5th teams will qualify, etc. It's a horrible system. I didn't make it, so don't blame me. And I just wanted to go over the matches and just say what I think about the teams, well, from what I know, because I don't have like complete knowledge of the teams, but I'll just let my knowledge slip out here. Alright, so for the first, I don't know if they're going to do it like from top to bottom, but if they do, let's just guess that they do, right? Okay. So for the first game, they got Temple Storm versus Luminosity Gaming. I think Luminosity Gaming is Goon Squad. I'm not 100% sure. All these amateur teams like have sponsored names now, so I get them mixed up. Tempo Storm's been the best team in NA for a while now. They dropped, I think, like since they picked up Zuna, they've literally lost 1 tournament in like a few since WCA. So they have a pretty impressive record. And I don't see Luminosity like really being able to pull off anything here. I see 2-0 for Tempo Storm just because they're just a lot better. Like I don't see what Luminosity can do to win, like unless they have some. And even if these teams have some like random hidden strats, like they're gonna need more. Like just cheesing one game out, it's not really gonna do anything because there is a losers bracket, so you're gonna have to like work your way through everyone if you lose once, you know. So that's actually why I really like the double elimination bracket system, because it makes it so you have to be the best to win the whole thing most of the time. You know, it's way better than if someone gets knocked out early and they can't. Maybe they had a bad game, you know. So I see Tempo Storm winning this one 2-0, and I see Luminosity going to the losers bracket. So the second one, we have this will probably be the closest. If I had to guess, this is probably going to be the closest game in the round of 8. It's Murloc Geniuses, who used to be Zevron. They're now Murloc Geniuses again, versus Cognitive Gaming. I really like these 2 teams play very similar. Like they both play around their melee assassin player, and Kerrigan's probably going to be highly contested in this series because that's what both the melee assassin players are known for. I know Murloc Geniuses doesn't have a good Zeratul player. Like their melee assassin player doesn't play Zeratul unless he's picked it up since the last tournament that I saw them play. So that gives Cognitive an edge in the fact that Glaurung does play Zeratul. I really see this. I think this is gonna be. I think this will be really close. Man, I don't even know if these are best of 3s or best of 5s. Like I don't even know. Can I check? Can you check by clicking on this? Is it a best of 3? Yeah, best of 3. Okay. Okay, goodness. So I'm thinking this is. I'm going to have to give it 2-1 to Cognitive. I'll give it 2-1 to Cognitive. But Murloc Geniuses can win this if they perform and Cognitive doesn't perform. But just the fact that Cognitive, they have the gaming house. They've been boot camping with Cloud9 Maelstrom. So I think I'd have to give Cognitive the upper hand here and give them the 2-1. Also, Murloc Geniuses like hasn't performed well. They perform well like right when a new patch comes out, but like after the patch has been out for a little bit, they don't perform very like as good as they did before. But this is like, I think this is the first big tourney after the Monk patch, so maybe they got something up their sleeve. We'll see. But I still have to give this 2-1 to Cognitive right here. And then here's the next one. Complexity Gaming versus Kappa Wolves. So Complexity Gaming is they're my favorite to go through in one of the 2 spots that are available to the qualifiers. Like, they're my favorite out of the remaining 5 teams. Even though they lost McIntyre, like, and I think McIntyre was their best player in my opinion, but they still seem to be playing. They seem to just like pick up the Jaximus, and they're pretty much playing exactly the same way. Like, they didn't change anything, so they just like have. It seems to me like they just have a not as good melee assassin player, and they play the same exact strategies. So like not too much has changed. I just think they're just a little bit weaker than they used to be with McIntyre. So that's 100% my opinion. You know, they could be stronger now. Who knows? And Kappa Wolves. So Kappa Wolves has actually been doing. They got a really nice. They got really lucky in the round of 16 because somehow NYX Esports beat 2ARC. So everyone thought 2ARC was going to make it to the top 8, but Kappa Wolves made it because 2ARC like shit the fan, or I don't know what the saying is. 2ARC pretty much did not show up on game day and lost to a no-name team that nobody even knows who they are. And then Kappa Wolves pretty much dismantled that team that beat 2ARC. So Kappa Wolves is in the top 8. Congrats to them. I just don't see how Complexity does not 2-0 Kappa Wolves here. I played against Kappa Wolves a lot in the last 2 months, and with whatever team I'm playing with, like, we just completely dumpstered them, like 3-0, 3-1. So I really just don't see how Complexity does not 2-0 this. So I think Complexity 2-0s, Kappa Wolves go to the loser bracket. And then here we go. Panda Global, which is... Who's Panda Global? The Plays. The Plays is Panda Global now. Versus Cloud9 Maelstrom. I really don't see how... I've actually played against the Plays a lot. And just like Kappa... They're a little bit... I feel like they were a little bit better than Kappa Wolves, but the skill level is around the same tier. So I just do not see how Cloud9 does not 2-0 them, like, fairly easily. Like, the only way Cloud9 doesn't 2-0 them and 2-1s them is that Cloud9's trying to hide strategies and they drop a game, which I highly doubt. So I got to give this to Cloud9 2-0. This is no disrespect to Panda Global, they're a good team, but Cloud9 has been a top 2 team in NA since forever, since they were formed, like back in the day when I was still playing on the team. So I just don't see Panda Global having a chance. I give this to Cloud9 2-0. So I'm gonna go through the. Let's go through the loser bracket. Like, the teams would be Luminosity versus Murloc. I see Murloc winning that. Probably 2-1. And then it'll be Kappa versus Panda. That'll be a pretty close game. I could see that going either way. I don't really have a favorite going into that game. It could honestly go either way. It'll probably be a close 2-1. And then let's go into the next phase in the winner bracket. So it would be, we had Tempo Storm and then Cognitive. Tempo Storm would win and then Cognitive would win. We have Tempo Storm versus Cognitive in the top 4. I think I really don't see how Cognitive can beat Tempo Storm. Like, Cognitive plays one style. They play it well, but they only play one style. And that is put Glaurung in a melee assassin and have him carry us. That's like the only style Cognitive plays. It works for them, but it's all that it's all that they do. And if Glaurung can't carry, they're going to lose. And I do not see him being able to carry against Tempo Storm or Cloud9. So I'm gonna have to give this Tempo Storm 2-1. I'll give them 1 win just because they are a good team, and I think they might have something hidden that they cheese out Tempo Storm with one game. I don't know what it is. It'll probably be like probably some Kerrigan comp or something, but I could see them winning at least one game. So I'll give that 2-1 to Tempo Storm, and Cognitive drops to the loser bracket. And then the next series would be Complexity versus Cloud9. So before McIntyre left, the Complexity Cloud9 matches were actually like really exciting to watch, because every single like tournament, Complexity was getting closer and closer to being able to beat Cloud9. It looked like they were overtaking them, and then McIntyre just got randomly kicked off the team or left the team. I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but McIntyre is not part of the team anymore, and then it just looks like Cloud9 wrecks them again. So I really don't think COL has a chance of beating Cloud9. I see that going 2-0 in Cloud9's favor. And then for the finals, what do we have? Tempo Storm versus Cloud9. Let's go to that later. What would the losers brackets be, right? You know, the losers brackets, that's too much hard work. I'm not even going to go into that. That's way too much hard work. I'll just say who I think is going to take the whole thing, and then who I think is going to qualify. So I'd be really surprised if Tempo Storm hasn't fixed their shit and they're drafting to the point where they don't lose to Cloud9. The last time they lost to Cloud9 was very draft-based. Like, they didn't play well either. They were actually playing bad, and they got out-drafted every game that they lost. So if they fixed up their drafting and they don't get, like, and Cloud9 doesn't have any, like, secrets in store, I think Tempo Storm can win. But Cloud9's proven that they've won in the past, so it's not like it's not impossible. But if someone gave me like house money to bet on this, I would bet on Tempo Storm. So I think Tempo Storm takes the whole thing. Let's see, Cloud9 will finish second. That's not really surprising. So let's look at the two teams that I think will qualify. So Murloc Geniuses would probably be the up speed. I don't know what that means. I'm gonna upload the videos later to my YouTube, so if it's lagging for you now, you can check them out later. I'll literally upload it after the stream's done. Like everything looks fine on my OBS. But anyways, so I think Murloc Geniuses, like I have played a lot of games against the teams that are trying to qualify for this. I've played against all of them, and Murloc Geniuses is always the hardest for my team, for my old teams when I was playing against them, because they're really good at early game, and early game, being really strong at early game can get you through. It'll get you past like these like lesser teams that aren't as good as the Tempo Storms and the Cloud9s coming back later in the game and just outscaling you or out team fighting you or out rotating you and outthinking you. But I think Murloc Geniuses, they're kind of in a shit situation because they have to play against Cognitive or Tempo Storm if Cognitive or Tempo Storm loses to one another. So unless Murloc Geniuses can beat Cognitive, I don't think they're going to qualify. But I do think they're the second best team that hasn't qualified yet that is in this qualifier, if that makes any sense. So, you know, that's just how the brackets are, though. So I think I'm just going to throw it out there. I think we have a Tempo Storm first, Cloud9 second, Cognitive or Complexity is going to be 3 and 4, and then Murloc Geniuses will be top 4 if they can beat Cognitive. If they can't, then I literally have no clue who's going to be the second person that qualifies. It's like a throw up. I think all those teams are like very similar skill levels, so it'll be good to see. Let's see here. Okay, so that is it for that is it for this. I will start the cleaning games now. I'm gonna go check. This dude says my OBS is messed up. I'm gonna check it out. I'll check out my OBS really quick. I'm gonna